Today, I'm going to talk about humility. Now, of all the virtues that I follow, humility seems to be the most misunderstood one. I am often told that I should not be a humble man. I should be confident, because that's how you go out there and get things done. But I disagree. Let me start with a few simple definitions. Humility. This is knowing that you could be wrong about anything at any point in time. About anything. When you are humble, it leaves you open to listen to other people's points of view because you can look at your own information and question it. The other two words I'd like to define are confidence and arrogance. Now these have kind of become smushed together, but I'd like to draw a big fat line between them and separate them. So I'm going to say that confidence is something that you can have in things. You can have confidence that water is wet. You can have confidence in a skill. You can have confidence that I'm confident that I can get up and hop on one foot. I'm confident in that. I can have confidence in things and ideas. But to be confident, that is arrogance. If someone is approaching me with a question and I am confident that I know the answer before I've even heard the question, that is arrogance. So when you can be arrogant, but you can have confidence in things. Now, why is it so important to be humble rather than arrogant? And confidence is a separate thing. A humble person or an arrogant person can be confident in something. It just manifests itself in completely different ways. Now there are two major ways that I can explain this situation. One is that a humble person doesn't know things. They don't think about information and say, I know this is right. They think about information and say, is this right? And when you're constantly thinking about things and asking, is this right, that leaves it open to find better information. And you end up finding little mistakes in your mind and in the ways that you think, and you can take those out. It's like having a house. If you're always walking through it, every time you walk through a room, you pick up a piece of garbage or you sweep up a little piece of dirt, and every time you come through, you take something and throw it out, you end up with a very clean room. And if every time you come into the room, you bring in something useful, you end up with a room full of useful stuff. And that's what your mind is like. When you're humble and you always question and are always skeptical of everything, even your most secure information, be skeptical of that because you may find mistakes in it or mistakes related to it, and then you can take them out and your information evolves and grows with you. And you become a useful person because you can grow. Now, when you're arrogant and you are confident in a piece of information, this cleaning of the cobwebs doesn't happen. It just becomes this stagnant thing that the person puts up on a pedestal and says, no, anything that might indicate that this is wrong, no, I'm not listening to that. I'm not listening to that. I'm just going to collect information that supports it. And one of the most dangerous things about that is that it removes the easiest way to prove something. Now, it's very difficult to prove that something is correct. You can find lots of supporting evidence, and that's easy to do. Finding lots of supporting evidence is very easy for anything. Maybe not anything, but anything I can think of right now. But what really proves whether something is right or wrong is if you can find something that proves it wrong. Now, if you're arrogant about a piece of it, no, if you're just arrogant and you have information that you are confident in and it's untouchable, then you lose the ability to see those things that prove this information wrong. And that is the most useful way of learning, is finding the hole, finding the mistake, figuring out that something is not true because there's a hole in it. Because there's always evidence that supports anything. And when you discuss things with someone, if you are humble and you see that your ideas can be questioned, even you are even skeptical about your own information, then you can listen to what someone else is saying, and you can learn, and you can have a discussion where you and the other person can both come to better conclusions than you had previously. Presuming the other person is also humble. But even if they're not, you can get better information, even from an arrogant person, if you can maintain your own humility. Now, an arrogant person, when they discuss something with someone else, they're not listening to the other person because they don't care. They're not analyzing their own information. All they're doing is just trying to say, no, you're stupid, you don't know anything, unless you agree with me. And then we can just pat each other on the back, and then we know everything, and there's no growth. So that's the first main reason that humility is so important. Without humility, you can't grow. The other main reason that humility is so important is that if you are humble, you're not susceptible to manipulation like an arrogant person. An arrogant person is very easy to control. A humble person is very difficult to control. And here's why. An arrogant person feels the need to know the answer to everything, to have snappy responses, to be witty, to keep the pace going in the conversation, to present this air of arrogance, this idea that they are confident. The problem is, people don't know everything. In fact, people don't really know anything. Anything you know, or any information you have, is just a best guess when you really get down to it. But in our culture, there are a lot of people who see all these masses of people who are arrogant, who refuse to acknowledge that maybe they don't know the answer to something. And this is where the left and the right come in. Now, politically speaking, you've got like a left and a right party, and in a lot of ideologies and whatever, it doesn't matter. There's a division between this side and that side, and right now I'm just going to use the left and the right. So the right over here has got this set of things that they know are true, and they all get together and they figure out how to support all this information and how to back it up and how to argue it. Now on the left, they've got all these other positions that are opposite of what the right has, and they do the exact same thing. They're figuring out how to support and how to argue and how to deal with people doubting all this information. This is all stuff they know, and this is all stuff they know over here. And then you're in the middle. At least when you're born, you're in the middle. And if you buy the idea that you have to know the answers, you have no choice but to go to one of these parties. Because they'll say something to you about something, and if you refuse to say, I don't know, you either have to agree with them, or you have to go to the other party. And this is a very easy and stupid way to live. It's easy because they've got all the answers set out for you already. This party has, these are all the answers. This is how you argue them. This is how you deal with other people when they try to doubt you. And the other side's got the exact same thing. And then both sides, they have opposite ideas on topics, but they're doing the exact same thing. Now, a strong person can stand in the middle and humbly say, I don't know. Now, we're told over and over that a confident person, an arrogant person, that is the strong person. But that is not the strong person. The strong person is the humble person who can think about things, and when they hear stuff coming from one side, they can say, you know what, I'm not sure if that's right. I don't actually know the answer because I haven't done research on that, and I don't know that even if I did, I could come to a 100% sure answer, like you're telling me. And now what one side will end up doing, and both sides do this, they respond, then you must be with the other guys because you're an idiot, etc., etc. And what most people end up doing is they either get kind of guilted into joining with that person, feeling, oh, I'm sorry, I am an idiot, oh, no, you're right, Or they get scared off straight into the other side and say, what do you mean I'm an idiot? No, you're an idiot. Now I'm with them. They can't think rationally, they can't have a discussion, and that's what's going on in North America and a lot of Europe and a lot of the world right now. We're at this point where you've got people over here and people over here, and any time a discussion comes up and two people are discussing it, they either say, oh, we agree on this, let's go pat ourselves on the back, or they disagree so strongly and they won't listen to what each other's saying that they just hate each other. So you've got all these people over here hating all these people over here, and all these divisions throughout the world because people are afraid to say, I don't know. You don't know the answer to so many things. And even the most sure things, you don't really know the answer, because 1,000 years from now, they could look back at us and just say, oh, those guys really didn't know anything. Everything you think you know right now is going to turn out to be wrong. It takes a strong person to remain humble and stay open-minded and rational when there's a sea of people coming at you from both sides. Now, what happens when you join one of these left-right groups is that you get a bunch of easy answers. So you have an easy time responding to questions and discussions and things. But what you lose is your own choices, because you're not making decisions anymore. You're not deciding what you think is right or wrong. You are just being given that. You have lost your ability to think independently. You have lost your ability to think. You're just a pawn in someone else's game. And the ability to think is the most important part of being a conscious creature. So regardless of how much easier it makes conversations or whatever, it's not worth it because you're gone. So what can you do about this? First, obviously, you can just commit to being the humble person in the room. Say that I'm going to be rational even if nobody else in the room is. I'm going to say I don't know the answer if I don't know the answer. And I won't overstretch my position, and I won't try to force ideas down people's throat to make them agree just to support the idea that I have. Now, beyond this, there are ways to affect the society in general that are not complicated. They're actually very simple things you can do, and there's something that women can do and something that men can do. Wow, it's really pouring rain right now. Anyway, and it's different. And I know some people are going to yell, sexism, sexism, but men and women are different. I mean, we relate differently to each other and blah, blah, blah. So I want to give you a little story. A few years ago, I posted this video about how it's become common for women to go around saying they want a confident man, which I've argued here means an arrogant man. And I even know a lot of women who say, no, I want an arrogant man. I can admit it. When that doesn't really make it any better, it just acknowledges a bit more of the problem. So I posted this video saying that women can make a huge change in our culture if they stop saying they want a confident man and start saying they want a humble man. Just change that one word, and it will have a massive difference. Because men are chasing women around, we're trying to impress them all the time, and when they give this feedback, men listen. Now, I made this video, and a woman I know, I got a lot of responses, various responses. Now, a woman I know who is just stunningly gorgeous, like really beautiful, like eye candy, responded to me very energetically that I was way off my rocker. I didn't know what I was talking about. Confidence is where it's at. I mean, you can't have this humility, and women should go around telling men that they need to be confident. Now, I wish I could show this woman the trail of destruction she's leaving in her wake. But I can't, because there is a sea of thousands of other guys agreeing with her. Because they're just staring at her boobs and saying, oh yeah, you're right, whatever you say, yeah, I gotta have confidence, right? And this is the thing guys can do. Come on, guys. Now, I get staring at the boobs. I love boobs. I am totally into the boobs. I completely get it. Don't worry. I stare at the boobs too. But when it comes time to talk, to say anything, stop staring at the boobs. Pick your eyes up, look at their face. Think about what's going on inside their brain, forget about the boobs, and respond to the person. Don't respond to the boobs, because you're just going to agree with everything. Oh yeah, boobs, I love them, that's great. Yeah, whatever you just said, yes. No, stop looking at the boobs when it comes time to talk. When it comes time to talk, look at the person, think about the person, respond to the person. So when a woman says to you, I want a man with confidence, instead of just agreeing because she has nice boobs, say, well, you know, a person who has confidence is arrogant. You can be confident about things. You can be confident in information, etc., 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 and have a reasonable, intelligent conversation with her. This is what guys can do. This is the thing that guys can do that can change the world. Stop staring at the girl's boobs when it's time to start talking. Fine, stare at her boobs. Just keep your mouth shut while you're doing that. When it comes time to talk, stop staring at the boobs. And women, stop saying you want a man with confidence. Because a man who is confident, that's just arrogant. And one day you're going to be sitting in the car, looking at the map and knowing that you're 100 miles off course. And you try to tell this guy, and he's going to say, I don't need a map, shut up, I know what we're doing. Because he's an arrogant prick. And that's what you asked for. Instead of wanting a humble man, where you can look at the map and say, hey honey, we're off course. And he can say, oh really? Darn. Well, you've got the map, so you clearly have a better idea than I do. Totally reasonable? So let me know where we need to go. Or do we need to pull over and look at so I can look at the map? Or do you think you can handle it? Reasonable. That's what you want, a humble man. Because a humble man's going to be smarter. He's going to know what to do with the kids. He's going to have understanding. He's going to be able to grow and evolve, learn from situations. Unexpected things are going to come up. He's going to be able to handle it. Because the arrogant man, anytime something unexpected comes up, he just says, this is wrong, everything's wrong, because it's not what I knew was going to happen. Because I'm arrogant and I already know everything. No, you want a humble man. That's what ladies can do to change the world. And guys, you know what you need to do. So go out there and get it with your humility. Hoo-hoo!